Welcome back, Fantasy Fiction Fanatics. It's great to see you again, and I hope you're doing well. Today's class is going to be on the next set of chapters for Forging the Darksword, chapters 9 through 4. I hope you guys are enjoying the book and enjoying discussing it with me. I feel like this set of chapters is a little bit of a slow point in the fact that we don't have tons going on, but we do have some important things that are being set up in these chapters. So let's go ahead and jump right into it and get started with our recap. So we start this set of chapters seeing Blatchloch. I always feel like I'm saying his name wrong, but it's how it's spelled, guys. Blatchloch comes to the forge to see if Joram knows why Saryan is there for him. They have a chat, and it's clear that Joram doesn't know anything. Then, back at the font, we see Bishop Vanya, who is going into this secret room that only the bishop knows about, that allows him to talk to other people secretly. And he goes into that room and he talks to an unknown person about what's happening in the Outlands and gets an update. He asks for details, he's discussing exactly what's happening, and we don't know exactly who he's talking to. Then, at the settlement, they perform that ritual of the cyanic, and that's where, they have that bonfire and they're dancing and they're doing this ritual that they don't even totally know why they're doing it, but they do it because it is tradition. And from there, the raiding party the next day goes out and is on their journey to the next closest village or whatever that they're going to go ahead and do the raid at. So they're traveling to the raid, and it takes them a couple days to get there. So we've got a little bit of time where they're journeying there, getting there, and then when they make it in the evening, Blatchloch uses his null magic on the overseer, which is basically the same as killing him. And he kills the village catalyst outright. And Saryan ends up denying Blatchloch any more of his power. Like, he's like, I'm not going to funnel you any more power. And he is beaten by the men for it. When everyone else is raiding, Blatchloch and his other men are raiding, continuing forth by getting the food. Mosiah wants to help save Saryan. So he jumps in, and as such, Joram and Simkin end up jumping in to save and help Saryan at their own risk. When Saryan then wakes up again, he finds that him and Joram are locked in a jail cell. And they have a little bit of a conversation in that jail cell. So that is what's happening in these set of chapters. So again, nothing crazy, nothing too exciting per se. It's a little bit of a slower set of chapters, but it's important things that we are setting up for later. And we're getting into that rhythm of figuring out exactly what's going to be coming, what's going to be important, and where we're moving towards with these chapters. We're getting those extra details that we're going to need, as well as obviously with Saryan, he is getting himself into trouble with these Outland people. So we're going to see how that goes as well. The first thing I want to go ahead and talk about is Bishop Vanya, because we are seeing a little bit of behind the scenes of Bishop Vanya at this moment. Of course, we've seen a little bit, we understand that, there's something going on, that he's not telling Saryan the truth. We know that he knows about this specific prophecy. We know that he had something underlying under all this. But we don't know what it is yet. And now we're seeing exactly how much he is lying and how much we are going to have to uncover about Bishop Vanya and his motivations. So he actually isn't that religious. That is very clear in this set of chapters, where he even mentions that the Almin should at times, even reference him and ask him what should be going on, because he is the one that knows how to handle all situations. So that is a very interesting statement, that the bishop, who's supposed to be the most holy man, most close to the Almin, doesn't respect the Allman seemingly at all. He pretty much never prays to him, he never asks him for guidance, and he believes that the Allman should ask him, the bishop, for advice and to consult him with things on how he should be running or things. It's very, very interesting to see how anti-religious the main head religious person is, as well as the fact that he fools everybody into thinking he's this very pious, very strict person who is praying to the Allman, and he's got it where everybody's fooled. Everybody. He is very, very smart and cunning and knows how to sneak around and has not been caught at this point for being a fraud or being anything less than what he seems. So, we really see his true nature a little bit underneath his exterior. So we've seen what he's presenting, we see how Saryan sees him, and we've seen that little bit of cunning, that little bit of smarts underneath where he's holding back and lying. But now we really see that he doesn't even actually have any religious reasons behind it. It's very, very much grounded in this world as to his motivations. It's very much a human motivation. And we also know now that he doesn't really want Joram to die. He doesn't want him to be captured and killed. He's really happy with Joram being where he's at. Might even be that he just wants to have him stay there. It's not even like he truly wants him to be captured and brought back, like he's saying. It's like he's setting Saryan up to be officially forever out in the Outlands, not to bring back Joram. We don't know why he sent Saryan out to get him then, if he doesn't really want him to be brought back and doesn't really want him to be killed. We don't really know the motivation behind everything yet at this point, but we do see that there is some kind of motivation and some interest with Joram being obviously dead. That's one thing, but he is particularly somebody who is more dead than the other dead, and that is why he is of interest, but we don't know what that interest is yet or what Vanya's plan is. So far we're just understanding that things are very much not as they've been presented to us, though we knew there was some kind of underlying message based on his interactions already. He is secretly contacting somebody out in the Outlands, getting those updates. We don't really know who it is. It could be Simpkin, but it didn't really seem like Simpkin, because obviously Simpkin knows Bishop Vanya, or at least says he does, seems to know what's going on. So it could be that Saryan is right, and that Simpkin is the spy in the Outlands that Bishop Vanya has. But it seems like possibly it could be somebody else, in the fact that the authors did not specify who it was that he was talking to. We're being kept in the dark about that. So if it was Simpkin, would we have been kept in the dark? Because obviously we already know about Simpkin and, his interactions and what he already knows. So we're going to have to see if we find out who actually is under Bishop Vanya's thumb and is being the liaison of what's going on with the Outlands. We're still pretty in the dark about what's going on. So Bishop Vanya and the authors are both pretty good at keeping us as the reader in the dark, and we haven't learned enough about Bishop Vanya to know what his goals are, what his motivations are. We are just seeing a little bit under the lid. We're taking a little peek inside and seeing that things are moving forward to being in place where Vanya wants them. We can kind of see that he's encouraged by where things are being set up. So what does Bishop Vanya want? We don't know yet. But it is possibly related to the prophecy that we had at the beginning. It's very probable that it's related to that, and the fact that why else would we have this prophecy if it had no relation to our story? And I would love to know if you have any guesses as to what Bishop wants to do, why Bishop is so interested in Joram, or if you have a guess on who he's talking to, if you have any guesses of that nature. I think it's just really interesting. I'm not very good at guessing stuff. Usually if it's mysterious, I'm in the dark until it's revealed. Sometimes I get lucky, but a lot of times I don't. So I know that I've already read this book, and I haven't read it in a while, and I don't remember who it is that he's talking to. So in my mind, even I'm questioning, like, who is he talking to? I do know more information besides that, but I am trying to think about who he's talking to, and I have no idea. And I don't even have any guesses for you. I'm trying to think, and I've got nothing. So I'd love to hear if you do, or if you have any guesses at all based on Bishop Vanya's motivations, goals, etc., that kind of stuff. So anything dealing with him. And it's important to take a look at Bishop Vanya, especially in this set of chapters, because as we're being revealed more, it's important for us to keep track of what's going on so we can relate it to then when we're not with Bishop Vanya, we're in the Outlands or with other characters, we can kind of see what is motivating what is being the origin of things, and what might be the outcomes of things. Vanya is an important piece. He knows about this special prophecy. He's the one setting things up. He's the one who's got this plan where he wants things to go a certain way. And we are setting up this kind of mystery around him, and we're constantly wondering, like, okay, like, what's the real motivation? What's happening? What are we supposed to be doing? And so kind of the whole mysterious aspect of this book is related to Bishop Vanya. And he's actually the one that's kind of setting our plot into motion. So understanding his motivations and what he was trying to accomplish will help us understand why Saryan's in the Outlands, what Joram's important role is, and so on and so forth. It'll get us a clearer picture of what we're supposed to be leading to and why things are happening the way that they're happening. So we're going to have to keep looking out for sections with Bishop Vanya and to see how we are going to evolve and move forward as more things are revealed from him. And next, let's go ahead and talk about the Forge. So I really want to talk about the Forge because at this point, we've really established it in this set of chapters and the previous set of chapters that we discussed as the central element or the central fixture or whatever you want to say, but it's the central part of this story right now. The Forge is very important. We have completely gotten ourselves a picture of what the Forge looks like more than the rest of the village, and it has been brought up the most. So it is the center of the Outland settlement. So not only is it the center of like what we're looking at right now, but it's literally like the center of the Outland settlement. It's what makes them make new things. It is a fire. It is a place that has fire, which fire is kind of symbolic for like the hearth of the home, or like, you know, the center of the home. So we've got that kind of symbolism. We've got the fact that they see it as like the central icon of technology. Even Saryan sees this as like the epitome of the ninth mystery of what it means to be dead and to create things without magic. He is horrified by the Forge and, you know, ends up having to be sick over it, and he finds it terrifying because he is used to the life of capital life, you know, of having everybody who has that magic within them. So it horrifies Saryan because it is such a central image of the epitome of technology and the epitome of death, as in like capital D death, not regular death. So we've got it as that centerpiece of the village. We've got it as the ultimate visage or ultimate tool for creation and things as being dead of technology. We've got the fact that Joram is trying to forge things in there. Like in this section, he's trying to forge this secret special something in this forge. How many times can I say forge? Do we need a counter for that? Ding, ding. But Joram is very invested in this technology. He sees it as gripping him, where he just wants to create this stuff. He's working alone at night on special projects. He has read books of the Ninth Mystery to try and figure out how to forge specific things. He sees the forge as his ultimate tool, more than anything else, as his ultimate tool, as somebody who is dead who can create magic in a way, that can create things and bring something to life. He realizes that he needs help understanding this forge, that he needs help to unlock its potential, which is why he talks to Saryan and realizes that he needs math involved to run this forge. So there is a lot about this forge that is important for this section as well as for this settlement. I mean, even the title of this book is Forging the Darksword. So the forge is what we're here for at this moment in the story. And that is why I really wanted to bring it up and really point out these special things that are going on with the forge and how symbolic it is at this moment, because obviously it's playing a huge role, at least in this particular book. Maybe in book 2 and 3 we'll be over it. But at this point, from us getting to the Outland settlement and to now, as well as probably through the rest of this book, as again we're forging the dark swords, there has to be some kind of major forging of a sword based on the title, at least, if the title is to be taken literally. So it's really a central piece to the story, to the characters, to everything right now. So really wanted to take a look at that to understand that we are setting up for something to be coming, especially at the end of this section where Joram realizes that he needs Saryan's help to figure out the math part, and the fact that he realizes that math is now essential to making it so he can create whatever it was that was in those Ninth Mystery books. And Blatchloch doesn't want Joram to be able to work the Ninth Mystery books. He allows him to read them. Like, it's not like he's punished him for reading them or gotten rid of them. But he doesn't really want Joram to master anything or to branch out or to become powerful with the Ninth Mystery. So that is also important to note, is that Blatchloch sees the threat that might come from the forge and those that are wielding it, aka Joram, who is very, very intense with trying to work with this forge and doing the blacksmithing. So let me know your thoughts on the forge, on its symbolism right now of the technologists relying on it as a central thing. Just let me know if you have any thoughts, feelings of what you think will be coming with it. I'd love to hear your opinions on it and to hear how you have taken that area of the Outland lives. Now let's talk about Joram. So Joram, as we've established before, is a very central character. He's a very important character. He is one that we are setting up to have some importance later or possibly throughout the story. We don't know exactly what he's going to do, but we know he's being set up to have something done. He is essential to this story. So let's go ahead and mark to see how he has changed since our last discussion of him. And I think he is truly changing in the Outlands. He isn't miraculously like a hugely different person. He's still very withdrawn, very internal person. He still has anger issues, doesn't really sympathize with people very well, but he is changing a little bit. He isn't as withdrawn. He's still very withdrawn. He doesn't really talk to people. He doesn't like people per se, but he does have a few people that he doesn't mind. In fact, he actually really likes Simpkin. He thinks he's funny and hilarious, and he enjoys the interactions that he has with Simpkin. So he doesn't totally mind Simpkin at all. He actually likes Mosiah. He doesn't like that Mosiah wants to constantly, make him into this personality that's not him. Like, he doesn't like it that he keeps trying to bring him out of his shell and try and force things upon him to be a happy, bright person. But he does like Mosiah. He likes Mosiah enough to jump into the fight with Saryan when before he was like, I'm staying out of that. I'm not going to get in the middle of that and risk Blatchloch anger. But when Mosiah goes in there, he's like, well, I got to go in there now. There's no hope for it. I've got to get Mosiah out. So he actively likes Simkin. He says he kind of gets irritated by Mosiah, but he likes him enough that he is the only one he would have gone into and fought for Saryan just to get Mosiah out. He does actively work to manipulate people now. So in the fact that he has changed, in the fact that he is learning to manipulate people, he's learning to interact with people enough that he can make them do what he wants. Other than Mosiah, he does mention that Mosiah is the only person that he cannot make it work on. But other than that, he uses his skills that he's building of, social interactions to manipulate people, to not get too close to people, but to still be able to set them up to do things that he would like or to be in the position that he wants to be in. So he is growing socially at the Outlands. He is making these social connections, and they are changing him a little bit in that sense. He's very antagonist towards Saryan at this point. We keep mentioning not caring about him, how he doesn't want anybody to notice that he is interested in Saryan, and the fact that he keeps watching him. He keeps keeping close tabs on what he's doing, what he's like. He's very much a watching from a distance, not totally under the radar. I mean, Saryan knows that he's been watching him, and there's the antagonistic parts. But it's not like he's openly antagonizing Saryan. It's kind of in the background where he's not really happy with him, but he is watching. He is careful to keep him in his focus, I guess I would say. So it's very interesting that, Joram says so much that he doesn't want anything to do with Saryan, that he has no interest in him, that he just wants to keep this distance, has no use for him. But he keeps watch on him, and whenever they have some kind of interaction, he's very angry and antagonistic. So there's a pull and a push that Joram is having. He's pulled toward him in a way, and he's pushing him away. And Saryan is just letting things be. He's not trying to interact with Joram. He's not trying to force anything. He's just minding his own business, at least at this point. And he's not really sure what he's supposed to be doing at this point, for Saryan at least, which has helped him give that space to Joram still. So again, we've kind of seen these changes. We see that he's got this eye on Saryan, even though he doesn't want to. And then we see that he's not afraid of Blatchloch like the others. He doesn't want to antagonize Blatchloch. He doesn't want to get in trouble with him. He doesn't want there to be... He doesn't want to rock the boat. He just wants to keep to himself. But he's not afraid of Blatchloch. He's not actually, terrified of him or, only follows what he says because he's afraid of what's going to happen. He's more like he's very smart about it, where he understands the threat that Blatchloch is. And so he is taking his time and doing things in his way where he can avoid getting into a confrontation with Blatchloch. In fact, at the end of this whole section, we see where he is coming to terms with accepting Saryan into his little circle of life here. I guess you could say he's kind of wanting to integrate him into his life a little bit more to obviously get his math skills. That's the obvious reason. But also he says that he wants to have Saryan's help to take Blatchloch down, which is very interesting because before, Joram was very much like, I don't care about Blatchloch, I'm not afraid of him, but I don't really care if he's leading things, I don't care if we're hurting people, what does it matter? But now he's at this place where he's like, let's take him down and let's do something about this. Which is very surprising at the end for this section because we just got done with him being like, whatever, I didn't care, I didn't want to get involved, I don't mind what we're doing. But now he's trying to make a tie with Saryan to get his math skills and has labeled it as working against Blatchloch. So we're seeing how he's being set up and how we're moving forward with this and how he's growing into whatever he's going to grow into for his important role. And I think we're slowly moving. This is really setting us up to hopefully something that's going to be a little bit more substantial in the next set of chapters. All right, last but not least, let's do the nitty gritty together. I've got 4 nitty gritty items this time. The first one is that Saryan remembers only one test that a baby failed so utterly that there would be no magic abilities whatsoever. So it's pretty interesting because we had set up before these dead people, capital D, dead people, that were now walking the earth, that the babies were getting smuggled out, they were failing the test, all that. But we didn't know that there was only one child that failed to the point of having no magic at all. Like where the dead has a little bit of magic, just enough, but not really be considered alive. They still have something. There's only one test that a baby failed completely and utterly. So let's see if you guys know what that is, if you recognize where we're at with that. But that obviously ticks a little box for Saryan that this boy is somebody unique and not who he expected. And hopefully we will be able to learn a little bit more about how that comes to fruition, if we get that called out, if that is explained moving forward. So obviously Joram is a surprise to him because he reveals this secret of having absolutely no magic whatsoever. Nada. This is kind of it's related to what I'm talking about right now, but it's not really something I have as a nitty gritty moment. But I do think it's interesting that this society of magic has like sleight of hand magicians that are like meant to be entertainment still. It's like you can literally do things with magic, and yet they make pretend sleight of hand magic as entertainment. I want to know what your thoughts on that are. Sorry, it's kind of a bit of a tangent. I just kind of was thinking about it in thinking about Joram not having any magic and using sleight of hand. And I even thought this when I was reading it. I was like, really? Like, people who have magic have magicians as entertainers? You'd think you just do actual magic. But I guess not. Anyway, moving on to the next nitty gritty moment we are told now that Blatchloch killed somebody, which is what led him to being in the Outlands. So we already knew, at least at the beginning of this section, that he is a little bit ruthless. I mean, we didn't know exactly how ruthless yet necessarily, but that he did not mind killing people, and the fact that he's killed people in the past. So with that in mind, are we going to learn exactly who he killed and what exactly happened? Are we going to be able to find more of that information out? And will that information be pertinent to what's going on right now in the here and now with Joram? Okay. Next is a question that has been happening since we first met Simkin, at least for me, is what is Simkin's goal in all this? I keep questioning that. What is his goal? What does he really want out of all this? Why is he so invested in Saryan and Joram? Why is he getting involved with saving them or, kind of following them around? What is Simkin's role? That's what I think is a very important question right now to be asking, because Simkin keeps showing up and we don't really understand why he's so invested and why he seems to be so unique and strong in terms of magic and his ability to shapeshift into inanimate objects. And last but not least, is more of just a statement here, is that it's interesting that the people aren't supposed to have personal relationships with the Almin. So this is a little bit for world building, just a thing that I thought was interesting. Is something that we're just learning now, is that you're not really supposed to have a relationship with the Almin by yourself personally. It's supposed to be that you have a relationship with the Almin through the Catalyst. You're like supposed to go to the Catalyst to get guidance and to pray to and to have a personal relationship with the Elmin. Of course, they haven't had a catalyst around, which is why he mentioned why they have to develop that by themselves. But why is it that only the catalysts can have that relationship, especially when religion is like the main overarching thing of the whole society, but the people themselves cannot practice personal religion. They have to do it through the catalyst. So I just think that that's super interesting tidbit that we've learned here about the religion and about the world building in this set of chapters that were kind of just a little sprinkled in there just very casually. So I just wanted to bring it up and see if you had any thoughts on that as well. Okay, but that is what I have for this set of chapters. We don't have tons going on, like I said, so nothing too crazy to discuss, but just things that we're setting up here, and I wanted us to keep in mind as we're moving forward and to kind of track the progression that we're making. All right, I guess that is it. Let's go ahead and finish up with our trivia question before we go ahead and head out for today. Sorry, the trivia question did kind of span a couple of weeks this time, but thank you to everybody for participating and giving it your best guess. The question for this week was, the Sword of Truth series is written by which author? And the answer is Terry Goodkind. Congratulations to Paul, Tasloff, and Christian, just talking to this chicken, for your answers and for getting it right. All right, so if you want to join the trivia question, we do have fun questions like this every week. And if you would like to join, go over to the blog, fantasyfictionfanatics.net. It's going to be on that right-hand side. If you're on desktop, you'll just scroll down just a little bit and it'll be there. If you are on mobile, you'll have to scroll almost all the way down, but it will be down there at the bottom for you to do. All right. If you would like to go ahead and comment on anything I have said, you are welcome to do so down below. If that's not the best place for you, you're welcome to head over to my social medias. I've got 3 of them now. I've got Facebook, which is /fantasyfiction1. And then I've got Twitter, which is @fantasyfiction1. And I've got Instagram now, which is @fantasyfiction1. Instagram is my slowest moving one at the moment. I haven't posted as much. I'm still getting the hang of how Instagram works, but I would love to see you guys on there, and you can contact me there or on any of the social medias. If you want to get updates, things like that, I do post on there for updates as well. The best place, though, in my opinion, to come to is the Discord, because we have not only me, where you can get a hold of me and DM me, but you are also able to talk to your fellow fantasy fanatics, and you can talk about fantasy as well as non-fantasy related things, books and non-related books. You can get announcements. You can do whatever you'd like. We're all chatting over there. We've got lots of people over there now chatting, having a good time, and we would love to have you there and contributing to our discussion together. So if you would like to join that, go ahead, and link is down below for you. You can hop on right whenever you're ready. All right. That is it from me today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you are really enjoying this book and the discussion with me. I would love to hear all your thoughts and opinions, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.